It's great to speak with you again, Oliver. Today I'm looking forward to hearing your views on a new topic, the circular economy. My first question is, what is the circular economy?
Well, first off, Dustin, thanks for having me again, and I'm glad to be back. The circular economy, it's this theory that says that we can produce products with virtually no waste. Materials are reused and recycled continuously. So that's really where the circular idea comes from. It's a dramatic shift if you compare it to the current, what I'd call linear economy, in which we take, make, and consume and dispose. So you see that straight line. And we draw regularly on natural resources to create products that eventually end up as trash. And so in short, what the circular economy is about economic growth without an increased use of natural resources. And I think that's the key idea of a circular economy. And so it's about resource productivity. How can we get more from the resources we use, eliminating the concept of waste? And so we use things over and over again. And so what used to be waste in a linear economy now becomes a resource in a circular economy. And so that's really the key notion around a circular economy. And so why is that important, I think is the next great question. And I think if you look at economic development over the last several centuries since the Industrial Revolution, we've had a linear economy. And it's worked actually quite well for a very long time. So why is it important that we shift? And I think there's some drivers on this, and foremost is the growth of the middle class and increasing world population, which is driving greater consumerism in the coming years. We certainly see this in the marketplaces which we're involved in globally. And that increased population and consumerism puts tremendous pressure on natural resources and energy supplies. And so therefore, the belief is a shift to a circular economy will build value, create jobs via new business opportunities. And we think technology serves as a great example of the potential for this kind of transformation. We also see increased urbanization, which puts the pressure on resources. The global population, just to cite some numbers, is expected to increase by 1 billion people by 2025. And if you think about it, 1 billion people, that's roughly the population of a China or an India. And that's a tremendous amount of people who all aspire really to lives of possibility and potential rather than, I think, one of poverty and scarcity. And from a technology point of view, technology is often used, and that's how we use it here at Dell, is how do we use technology to help people to be more productive, to enable the human condition, to help people realize the dreams in their lives. And so beyond 2025, we also see forecasts that show approximately 3 billion people will ascend to the middle class by 2030. So we got more people moving up out of poverty into the middle class. We think certainly more people moving whose lives are improving economically, that's a good thing. But it puts pressure on resources. People want cars, air conditioning, electronics, etc. And that all puts a lot of pressure on resources. And so there's concern over shortages and environmental pressure from raw materials. The World Economic Forum forecasts by 2020 an extra 82 billion tons of raw materials will enter the economic system. It's also getting harder and more expensive to get at some of these resources. I think according to the Green Alliance, there is 7% copper in every ton of ore mined 150 years ago. Today, I think it's around 0.6%. And so those big, rich seams of copper, to cite an example, are harder and harder to get at. You look at where we drill for oil. In environmental conditions, either deep sea or the Arctic, it's harder and harder to get at pockets of oil. And so those are some of the reasons from a material standpoint, and energy pressures, including costs, are on the rise. What we see from our longer-term forecasts, and I'm quoting the Green Alliance here, estimates over the next 10 years is that metal prices and energy prices could actually triple. And so, it's really, if you look at it from a basic standpoint of supply and demand, more demand means usually higher costs. So that's, to put in simplistic terms, those are the drivers.
And how can things be done differently in the supply chain, and where have you seen some success?
Well, I think things can be done differently in the supply chain by looking at where we can recycle, reuse materials. So I'll cite an example of what we've done at Dell with packaging, where we've used wheat straw actually as a substitute for paper fiber that's sourced from trees. So about 2 years ago, we launched a wheat straw paper packaging initiative with our partner YFY. And what we're doing is take what the material that was previously a waste, which is wheat straw, where farmers in China would either burn it, or if they couldn't do that, they would till it. And we gather that. It goes into a process where we have specially designed enzymes to break down those fibers for suitability in the use of paper making. And we use approximately, I think it's 40% less energy and about 90% less water in the process. And we get a paper product made from wheat straw that's really the same in performance characteristics and really the same in terms of cost, but we don't use a scarce resource such as trees, and we avert the burning of wheat straw in China. So it alleviates, I'd say, some of the air pollution and particulate matter in the air. It also helps provide an extra source of income for rural farmers, and it creates rural jobs. So that's what we call a quadruple win. I'll cite one other example at Dell, what we're doing in the supply chain. In partnership with Wistron, we're collecting used computers. We're taking the plastic, grinding it, and then recycling it back into new Optiplex desktops. So that just started late last year, and that's an example of the reduce, reuse, and the circular nature of the supply chain. These are initial beginnings. We think more will follow, and in fact, on our roadmaps, we're looking at to see how we can increase the use of these types of technologies.
Thanks, and can you provide a brief background of yourself?
Sure. I grew up in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. We probably had more cows than we did people, but I was always very much influenced by the natural environment. I worked on farms growing up and worked with animals and enjoyed the natural environment. So naturally, as a kid, you never appreciate the things that you have. It was only when I moved away that I realized what a great environment that I had. And that's one of the reasons I think that motivates me to do some of the work that I do is so others can experience the world, the natural world, certainly, in a way that I experienced it. Educationally, for those of your students and other listeners, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in agricultural and biological engineering from Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. And I also have a master's of business degree from the University of Texas in Austin. I guess that kind of makes me a bit of an Ivy League cowboy. I hadn't realized that, but it's been a combination that's served me very well. And professionally, I have work experience for Ford Motor Company, an automotive industry, as well as aerospace, a little bit of time in government, and then here at Dell for about the last 15 years. So that's a bit of my background.
Well, thanks today for sharing your views on this topic, and I look forward to staying in touch and following up with new topics that you'd like to talk about in the future.
Okay, wonderful, Dustin. Thank you very much.
Thanks.